Is there a voice inside your mind that reminds you all the time the ways you're broken? Has it left you hopeless? It can be a hard, hard thing, just being alive. It can be a dark, dark thing when you're trying to hide. Every story, every scar, you love the way you are. There's nothing you need to prove, 'cause heaven knows your name. There's a reason you were made, fearfully and wonderfully. You. Has anybody told you that you'd never be enough? Has anybody told you that you'd never measure up? Are you just trying to escape, trying to run from all the pain of being human? Can you make it through it? Every story, every scar, you love the way you are. There's nothing you need to prove, 'cause heaven knows your name. There's a reason you were made, fearfully and wonderfully. You, fearfully and wonderfully. You. Don't give up, don't give up. He's not giving up on you, not giving up on you. Don't give up, don't give up. He's not giving up on you, not giving up on you. It can be a hard, hard thing, just being alive. It can be a dark, dark thing when you're trying to hide. Every story, every scar, you love the way you are. There's nothing you need to prove, 'cause heaven knows your name. There's a reason you were made, fearfully and wonderfully. You. Fearfully and wonderfully, Don't give up, don't give up. He's not giving up on you, not giving up on you.
Good morning, Ford Point. How's everybody doing today? Yeah, welcome. It's so great to see all of you. Welcome. If you'd like, you can pull out your phones. We're going to start off this morning with a little fun, as we like to do. We have some majority rules this morning. So here's the instructions. Basically, you want to try to pick what you think everybody else would pick. And if you do that, then you're going to get points. If you don't get points. So we have a very special neighbor-themed majority rules this morning. I'll give you a few minutes to get signed in there. You go to ccg.buzz on your web browser, and you're going to put in that code, and I'll let you pick a name, and then the battle begins for Battle Royale towards the end, where it's do or die. But we start off gently first. Start off gently, have a little fun. We use our phones all throughout the morning here to get connected. You can ask questions during our conversation. So as long as you're not playing Candy Crush, we encourage you to have your phones out. Unless you're about to beat a high score, then desperate times call for desperate measures, I suppose. ccg.buzz, and put in the code there. And we'll see what kind of neighbors the majority of you would like to have or not have. All right, hopefully all of you are there. Let's go ahead and go to our first majority rules question. Would you rather your neighbor have a dog that barks all the time or a baby that cries all the time? Which would you rather have? And then let's see if you're in the majority. Okay, get your answers in. I heard the ding. The results are in. And it's a baby that cries all the time. Oh, you guys are so special. Love the babies, love the life. But we gotta love the dogs too. All right, let's see. After one question, I'm the Rizzler. It's gotta be my daughter Augustine again, I'm guessing. Where is Adam? That's what I'm always looking at. Oh, Adam's in fourth. All right, you guys gotta keep Adam in his place there, okay? He tends to come out of nowhere and get to the top. Question number 2 for majority rules. Would you rather share a wall with a neighbor who always watches TV really loud or always shouts whenever they talk? What kind of neighbor would you prefer if you had to pick one? Which would it be? All right, the results are in. 24 of you. Most of you would really prefer a TV that's really loud. Is that because you don't want to pay for cable yourself and you just listen through the wall there? Is that what's going on here? A lot of cheapskates we have here this morning? All right. Okay, after 2 questions, not too much has changed there. All right, you guys are still holding strong. Question number 3. Would you rather have a neighbor who practices guitar daily behind your wall or throws parties every weekend with loud music? What would you rather have? What do you think would be more livable? All right, the results are in. And you would prefer a daily guitar playing behind your wall. All right, that makes sense. Maybe if it was someone playing some Christian music. All right. Okay. Still, not too much has changed. We got a tie though there for first place. We'll see if that changes. Got a couple more here to go. Question number 4. Would you rather have noisy neighbors or nosy neighbors? No, I said that backwards. Nosy neighbors or noisy neighbors? Which would you rather have? Hopefully you know which is which there. That could throw things for a loop there. Nosy neighbors. You guys would prefer to have nosy neighbors all up in your business? Well, it seems I might have to adjust my pastoral leadership style here and get a little... Uh-oh, M! Out of nowhere, M in the first place. Adam dropped a few there. Adam, I'm pulling for you, buddy. All right, number 5, before we go to Battle Royale. Would you rather have a neighbor who stomps all the time when they walk or vacuums at odd hours of the day/night? Which would you rather? You gotta pick your poison there. Which would you rather? Okay, the results are in, and you would prefer, just barely, vacuum in odd hours of the day or night. Do you guys have some kind of PTS for the stompers, I guess? All right, let's see the results there. After 5, the Rizzler is back in, Adam back and forth. All right, well, this brings us to Battle Royale. Battle Royale here, the game changes a little bit. If you guess and choose the one that was selected and guess the least, then you lose all your points. So this is a fight for life here. If you wind up with 0 points, the prayer team will be available for you afterwards to console you. Would you rather an upstairs neighbor who walks in heels all the time, moves, drags furniture all the time, has multiple excitable dogs running around, or dribbles a basketball all the time? Which would you rather? Pick your poison. Which would you rather? Oh, the dogs. You guys like the sound of the little feetsies running all the way around? All right, let's see if anybody lost any points there, going back down to 0. Oh, we lost a couple there. We lost a couple, but we have Adam. I tell you guys, the sleeper man, second place there. It all boils down to this. All right, last Battle Royale. Who would you rather have as a neighbor? Mr. Ed, Mr. Rogers, Tim the Toolman Taylor, or Michael Scott from The Office? Which would you prefer? Who would you rather have as a neighbor? Living right next to you there. All right, the results are, Mr. Rogers, hands down. All the Michael Scott people, get ready to watch your name blow up here. It's about to get ugly. I knew it, Adam, out of nowhere, comes in, steals the show. With the win. Well done, Adam. I got a hug for you later. All right, let's give it up for our welcome team here.
Good morning, Fort Point.
Well, look who's back.
Hi, guys.
We missed you, Miss Justice.
I missed y'all. Yeah. So how y'all doing today? Well, welcome to Fort Point. Here at Fort Point, we are a community of faith, hope, and love, helping people find their We believe you're here on and we'd like to be part of that story any way we can. How can we get connected here?
We can get connected, but first I got to address an elephant in the room. Who did not vote for Mr. Ed? A talking horse? Are you serious? If I lived next to a talking horse, I probably would not get anything done. I'd probably get fired from work because I would always be hanging around with a horse that talked to me.
Who's Mr. Ed? I didn't know who any of those things were.
Mr. Ed was an actual talking horse that only his owner knew that he talked, and he would always hide it from everyone. But he would make telephone calls. He would do all kinds of shenanigans.
I want a talking horse.
Exactly.
Is he purple? That'd make him all the better. A purple talking horse. I like that.
So if you're new here to Fort Point, welcome. We're so glad you're here this morning. We're so glad you could join us. If you didn't get it yet, we do have a special gift for you. If you didn't get it, it's right behind these doors. There's a welcome center there. There's wonderful people that'll give it to you. They'll talk to you, greet you, answer any of your questions. But if you didn't get it, make sure before you leave today that you do go by and pick it up as a special thank you. Also, for the next 75 minutes or so, however you feel like comfortable in participating, you can sit, you can stand, you can have popcorn, you can have water, you can have some coffee. I mean, we're really laid back. We're just so glad that you're here this morning.
Also, you can text the word welcome to the number 315-883-2213. That'll give us a way to get connected with you a little bit more. A few more ways you can get connected is social medias. We have Facebook, Instagram, X, and then we also have the Church Center app. The Church Center app is the best way to get connected and to stay connected. All of our events are on there. Stuff for the morning message are on there. And just life group stuff in general, which will be starting up soon once school starts up again. And more of our events is Party in the Wood.
Oh, yeah. Woo!
So every Friday night.
No, Thursday.
Thursday night. Sorry, Friday night is something else. I'll get to that. But for Thursday night, we have some fun stuff. E, you've been to more of them than I have.
Yes, I have. Party in the Wood, and sad to say, it's going to be our last one. So if you missed any of them, this is your last opportunity. So make sure you come out. It's a good time. It's music. It's food. We have blow-up games. It's just an all-around good, fun time. So
Free food.
come on out.
I like that. And then more food. Friday night is the food trucks.
Yes.
We love them. The other night we had this like barbecue thing. It was really good. I had mac and cheese. I love mac and cheese. We hung out with Mike. We hung out with E. It was delicious, fun times. Those are going through September.
Yes.
And if you haven't been to any yet, please come. They're so much fun, so much good food. 10 out of 10 experience.
And the name of this food truck coming is Pizza Decora. So if you love pizza, the first food truck we had was a fire oven pizza that was phenomenal. So I'm actually looking forward to this one on Friday.
Be good. And then Kidman. Okay, kids, y'all can go have fun. You're doing Noah's Ark this week. My sisters bought a bunch of stuffed animals. Have fun. Also, as our kid ministry is growing, we need more leaders to help watch all these kids. So if you have any interest in watching and helping kids learn about Jesus, the Bible, and all of the meta-narrative, talk to Kiwi, talk to my dad, Jimmy, talk to a leader, and we can help you get connected with that. It's so much fun, so fulfilling. So I think that's it.
Yeah, let's continue with our gathering.
Have a great day, guys.
So as they mentioned, our Party in the Woods have been gradually getting more and more people involved, and it's just been a lot of fun to watch and to see all of them be a part of that. This last week I brought my girls to help me set up, and one of the things that my youngest loves to do is find any kind of device that is connected to the internet and take pictures of herself. I don't know if you have any kids who like to do that, but Litly, she likes to take pictures of herself. I think I have one up there, maybe. Let's see. We can try this. There it is. There she is. What she doesn't know is that the iPad that's there at Love Handles is also connected to my phone. So all of these pictures that she took, she also magically appeared on my phone not too long, and I got to find out what she was up to. She was also involved with this. So if you think about it throughout the course of your week, you can remember to pray for the Doyle family, because that is part of what is happening there at our house. We also are super grateful here at Forward Point. Our kids have been involved in the KidMin for as long as we've been here, and for most of them for their entire lives. And it's just been an awesome opportunity. You can see at our Party on the Wood here, we have a bunch of kids who come out, and we block off the parking lot, and it's just a lot of fun with all of them playing. And I wanted to take some time this morning to start off, invite Kylia up. She oversees all the KidMin activities that we do here on Sunday morning. So Kylia, come on up, and we just want to share with you some of the heartbeat behind what we do, why we do it, and some of the needs that we have, especially as we begin. All I'm saying is they never clap like that for me when I walk up on stage. I don't know what that's about, but I wanted to give her a chance to share about some of the needs as we have, especially as we transition into our own space and in the future potentially needing multiple gatherings, just all sorts of needs and that we have. And I'm super grateful for our Kidmin team here because, again, my kids are the way they are. I don't know if that's a great representation there, but they're amazing because of the Kidmin influence that they have here. So, Kiwi, why don't you start off by just telling us a little bit of your Forward Point story?
So I go by many names, Kylea, also Kiwi, Miss Kiwi, or Stephen's daughter. If you don't know my family, I identify as a PK. I'm a pastor's kid. Are there any other pastor's kids in the room? There they are. And I've been in Kidmin forever. When I was 12, I was working with littles, and then I had a small group with first graders, moving up. I've bounced from role to role. Now I'm settled in the role where I love what I do, honestly. I do the transitions, and that is why the kids are paused up there waiting for me to help with the next transition. I lead our songs and our leaders and make sure that everyone that's up there feels fulfilled and connected in the role that they're in.
And so tell us, when you think about Kidmin, what is some of the purpose behind Kidmin? Why do we do Kidmin here?
My team has worked really hard to make sure that our culture upstairs is a culture of discipleship and not childcare or babysitting. We're not babysitting upstairs, so if you're scared of getting involved in Kidmin because you think it's just babysitting, that is not what we are doing upstairs. We're discipling adults and kids. The purpose of Kidmin is building this. We want kids to know that they matter, and at such a young age, it is so crucial. And at Forward Point, we're a community of faith, hope, and love. We're planting these seeds of faith. We're showing them that they are known and loved by God and that they matter. And that is what Kidmin is. Not babysitting, it is discipleship.
So when you think about Kidmin purpose, do you have a story maybe that kind of exemplifies, gives us a picture of what that looks like?
I love this one little, so in my transitions, and I could talk about that too, there is one story that sticks out. Years ago, one of our kids, who's now teenager, she was 4 at the time, and with another little 4-year-old, and you know how kids are, they play rowdy sometimes. So the kid had pushed her, and she took this message of God being in her heart so seriously that she, with so much expression, had just said, "You hurt my heart. And Jesus is in my heart." And now today, that teenager is now in this leadership role, I would say. One of the things that I love about Kidmin is watching them grow into leadership. We give them that opportunity at such a young age to practice what it means to step into leadership. And I love watching them take over the songs that I lead and leading the groups with those songs. It's such a simple way, but watching them grow into leadership is really beautiful.
And when you think about where we are currently and where we're going to be in the not too distant future, what are some of the needs that you feel would really help us to be continually successful in Kidmin?
So last week is a great example of our needs in Kidmin. I will say one thing that we love about while creating this culture of discipleship, it requires intimate groupings. So I like to make sure that our teacher to student ratio is really small so that kids are getting that closeness to ask their questions and are being fully heard. Because we want to have such a small ratio of teachers to students, there are some groups of kids that we're not able to reach because we don't have the people up there. And last week is a good example of our team stepping in to fill in these gaps. My mom and I were not there, but we have a really good team of people that will step in and help when we need it, and they're really good about making things move smoothly. Last week we had about 23 kids, which is huge for us because at the moment we're averaging like 14 to 15, but in the past it was 6, 7, 8. So now having 23 kids, what that looked like is every single chair was full and we had kids sitting on the floor. So in order to keep growing that way, we need this community to step in and be able to build more groups so that we can have more intimate groupings so we're not sitting on the floor. And also reaching the kids that aren't getting connected. We don't have a teen group right now, and we don't have a baby group right now. And those those ages matter so much. I mean, babies need to be nurtured into that role. And then teens are transitioning into sitting here with you all. So we need adults to fill in these roles and get them connected for those transitions.
So for someone who works with KidMin and is thinking about working with KidMin, what would some expectations or what does their requirement look like to be involved with KidMin?
There's so many different roles. I think the myth is that, but I don't feel prepared to teach. You don't need to be a teacher, and you don't need to come up there and serve every Sunday either. There's so many roles for greeters, helpers, substitutes, literally anything. If you have a desire at all to show these kids that they matter and get connected, I promise you we can find a place for you to fill in. And if you are someone who is new to learning about Jesus, you think, I don't know enough. I can't mentor somebody else. There is so much going on upstairs. I've had all of the leaders. There's so many leaders up there that have spent so many years learning about Jesus, and they tell me how much they learn by breaking down these concepts. And the conversations that happen among the leaders leave me feeling filled every Sunday, even when I'm not down here. So if you're worried you're not going to feel filled, or you're worried that you don't have enough knowledge to fit in, there is a role for you up there.
So we made a super easy way for you to kind of start the process of checking things out. If you just text the keyword KidMin there to our, it should be 315, typo, 315-883-2213, and that will just let us know to start a conversation with you. You're not signing your life away for the rest of your life, but we just want to have a conversation with you to see if it might be something to come check out and if it's a good fit, because we are super grateful for our KidMin staff. KidMin up there, you guys love Kylie and all your leaders? Yes. So, Kylie, thank you so much for leading these kiddos and for growing them into disciples. We appreciate you. Preparing for the future starts now with these kiddos. So we're exploring what the next season for us is going to look like, but there's just even currently needs that we have for our KidMin. And one of the things we're most excited about is we're raising money for this new space, is our KidMin space. It's going to be a lot bigger and a lot more kid-friendly than what they currently have. So we're excited to be able to start to offer that to the community when we're able to move into that space across the street there. So KidMin to 315-883-2213, and we'd love to start that conversation with you. We're going to continue on with our series on the Mount, the greatest sermon ever told, and today marks the day where we finish up chapter 5 of this three-chapter sermon that Jesus gave, and we're finally to the end of the first chapter. Now, when this was written, there wasn't like chapters and verses, so it's not really a break in the sermon, but for me, it kind of feels like a page turner that we've been in chapter 5 for a couple months now, and excited to talk with you today about what Jesus talked about to the people. So we're just going to jump right in Matthew chapter 5. If you have your Bibles or if you have the YouVersion app on your phone, you can go to live events and see the verses there. And it starts off this way. He says in Matthew chapter 5, he says, "You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy." Now, at first glance, if you just kind of remove the Christian filter or the faith filter, this kind of makes sense. This kind of feels like something that we could get behind, and even if you add in the faith filter when no one's looking or behind closed door, there's a good chance that a lot of us probably still live according to this mantra. Now, this is a mantra not necessarily that was established in any kind of truth. It was actually kind of twisted quite a bit from what was originally said. The love your neighbor part actually comes from a verse in Leviticus chapter 19, where this is what God said. He said, "Do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against anyone among your people." Does that sound like hate your enemy? No, right? It actually sounds like quite the opposite. God tells them to not seek revenge, to not bear a grudge against anyone, but to love your neighbor as yourself. What had began to happen as the common folk, you and I lost our ability to read Hebrew and read the Bible. The religious leaders kind of rose as the position of power and instruction. And what they began to do is they began to draw these circles and then make these circles smaller of what it actually meant to love their neighbor and who their neighbor was. And they began to teach not to not hold grudges or not seek revenge, but they began to teach that it was okay, that you could have an excuse to hate your enemies. Right? Can you imagine that there would be religious centers that would teach it's okay, there's permission where you can hate your enemies. Unfortunately, it's not too out of the wild to think that is happening, because we still see some of that happening in parts of the world today where they would teach that it's okay, even biblical, to hate your enemies. And Jesus says, it's been a long time you've been listening to this message, and it's that you're to love your neighbor and to hate your enemy. And that's just not the case. Some things to define here. In the Hebrew, the word neighbor is really just this word that means anybody near to you, anybody close to you. We use the word neighbor and we think about the person who lives maybe immediately to our left or to our right, or maybe across the street, maybe a couple houses down. When we use the word neighbor, that's what we think of. But this word that was originally used in the Hebrew is really anybody who's in close proximity to you. Right? Anybody that you come in contact with. Just the fact that you are here on a Sunday morning and I am in close proximity to you, you've now become my neighbor. So the responsibility is that we are to grow our neighborhood, as it were, not to have more people in proximity to where we live, but we would have a growing neighborhood of people that we are coming in contact with, that we are in close proximity to. And this is opposite to what the religious leaders were teaching. What the religious leaders were teaching is how to make your neighborhood smaller, to how to draw these circles where we can have just the people that we like in them and the people that we don't like outside of the circle. And anybody outside of the circle, we had full permission to hate, to dislike, to treat ugly, to be mean to. And this is the stage to which Jesus is presenting. He says, you've heard it said before, right, that you can love your neighbor but to hate your enemy. And here's some of the ways that the religious leaders would kind of make their circles. If there were people who were not like them as far as nationality, Gentiles, free pass to hate them. There is this one group of people that we'll talk about a little bit more later, the Samaritans. The Samaritans were considered half-breeds. There was some intermingling, so they had some Jewish blood in them, but they weren't fully Jewish. And the religious leaders taught that they were outside of the circle. They drew it in such a way that all the Samaritans were outside and they were okay to hate, to not like. So much so that if they had to go on a journey, a Jewish person, and the destination to which they were going was on the other side of Samaria, where all the Samaritans were, that they would actually go around Samaria to get to their final destination. They would add, miles onto their journey simply because the Samaritans were in the outside of the circle, and it was okay to hate them, so they had developed a hatred towards the Samaritans. There was a lot of Jewish people who hated the Samaritans, not necessarily because of any way that they acted towards them or treated them, but just because the religious leaders had drawn these circles and were given permission to hate anybody outside of these circles. And that's really something that we default to as humans. I mean, all throughout history, you can see different times where we've done that, where we've put people outside of our circle because of maybe the way that they talk, maybe the way that they look, their skin color, maybe their background, all sorts of reasons and ways and that we are drawn to put people on the outside of our circles and create these smaller and smaller spaces of just people like us. This last week, I had mentioned a movie to my daughter that reminded me of our characters, because when we put on characters, it's like we're putting on these things over our heads, and it can be kind of, constricting. You can feel a little claustrophobic. And I said, you know what, this reminds me of this movie called Men of Honor. And Men of Honor is this movie about deep sea divers, back 40, 60 years ago. And she's like, let's watch it. Now, the thing about Men of Honor is that it's a rated R movie. Not because of violence or any kind of sexual content, but because it involves sailors. And if you know anything about sailors, the expression, you swear like a sailor, right? This movie is full with terrible language. And I went back and forth with myself a little bit, and I decided I'm going to let her watch it because it's a really moving story based on a true story, and we're watching it. And it's important that I allow her to experience different things from history where people have made circles and made people outside of those circles enemies, have made people outside of those circles, a license to hate or not like. And the main character of the story is an African American who becomes a sailor at a time when there was segregation, at a time where African Americans couldn't be involved in certain positions, and he worked his way through diving school, and all throughout the movie he's just abused for no other reason than his skin color is black. Right? Because our human nature allows us at different points to make these circles, and if you're not in the circle, then we're going to not like you, we're going to degrade you, we're going to hate you. And Jesus says, you've been taught up to this point that it's okay to love the people who are in your circle, but to hate the people who are outside your circle. And that's not how it's supposed to be. And in fact, Jesus is telling these different teachings to different people, and the Bible tells us how there was an expert in the law who approached Jesus with a question in front of everybody. An expert in the law would probably be somebody like a modern day lawyer, someone who knows all the loopholes, all the ways that up to that point the different laws have been taught. And he approaches Jesus with this question, and he says, okay, you're telling us to love our neighbor, then who is our neighbor? And as a result of this question, Jesus tells a story that probably most of us are familiar with in the Good Samaritan. The story of the Good Samaritan goes how a man was traveling on the road, and as he was traveling in the middle of the wilderness, he got jumped, he got beaten, he got robbed, he got stolen, he was left for dead on the road. And Jesus begins to say how, at first a priest begins to approach, and how from a distance the priest saw the man lying in the road, and the priest said, you know what, it's better for me to walk on the other side of the road than to help this person who's hurting. And then a Levite, which is another religious figure in that culture, again, sees this body in the road from a distance and thinks the same thing. I'm going to go on the other side. I'm going to kind of pretend like I don't see them. I'm going to try to avoid, not make eye contact, kind of absolve myself of all responsibility to help this person. Right? These are two figures that in our culture we would think would be the first ones to help, a priest and a religious leader. But they don't. They go to the other side. And then Jesus introduces this third character, and he doesn't have a name other than he's a Samaritan. And just the naming of a Samaritan, I'm sure, caused different jaws to drop in that moment. But this Samaritan, when he saw this person from a distance, didn't choose to go to the other side. He continued to walk towards this person lying in the road. And he began to address his wounds, and he put him on his donkey, and he took him into an inn and allowed him to rest. And he told the innkeeper, whatever tab he works up, whatever it costs, I will come back and I will pay for it. And this Samaritan obviously had some kind of reputation, some kind of equity with the innkeeper, because the innkeeper said, all right, I trust you, that you're going to pay your debts. Which again would have just been mind-blowing to the hearers, because all they know of Samaritans is that they are dirty, disgusting half-breeds who don't deserve to even be in our presence. And we're going to, in fact, walk around to get where we need to go so we don't have to interact with them. And Jesus asked very point blank, he says, of these three guys, which do you think acted as the neighbor? And it's interesting, their response. They couldn't even say the Samaritan like Jesus had said. They said, the one who took care of him. Right? Their hatred, their disgust for the Samaritans, even to the point where Jesus is telling the story, they can't allow the word Samaritan to come out of their mouth. Just the one who helped him. And Jesus says to go and do likewise. Jesus begins to paint this picture of what it means to be a neighbor. It's not just the person who lives to your left or to your right, but the neighbor is the one who takes care of the needs of the people who are in close proximity. That the true heart of a Christ follower is to actually be growing your circles, to be growing your neighborhoods where they get bigger and bigger, more people in them, and that you take ownership, you take the responsibility to say, whatever needs that you have, I'm going to own. Or I'm going to do my best to find somebody who can meet that need. But that's who I'm choosing to be for you as I follow Christ. And Jesus says, man, you've heard it said to love your neighbor, but to hate your enemies. But to do that, that undermines who we're truly called to be with each other. Because loving your neighbor, forward point, is being present for the people who are near you. You see, we have a culture of being absent. And I speak from experience because I would love nothing better than to just be in my living room all day by myself. I have all sorts of things that I can do from the comfort of my couch and with my iPad. I can play chess against people all over the world. I can read books. I can scream through Facebook and Reels. And I don't have to move an inch. I don't have to see a single one of you or any other people who live within a 5-mile radius of me. Right? That by default, I would love it. And some of you are like, preach it, brother. Because you're the same way. Some of you that would drive crazy. But by default, our culture is to not be present, but to be absent. And by absent, I don't even mean just like not there, but to not be engaged, to not recognize, to not see the needs of the people who are in close proximity to you. It's easy for us to be around people, but it's quite another thing to actually be present. It's quite another thing to actually investigate and look at clues and to see how people are acting and to build equity so you can begin to ask, hey, what's going on in your world? And then own that. It's a lot of work, right? And that's why we don't. Because then we become responsible. If you ever ask somebody how they're doing and they say anything more than fine, then we start to get nervous. We maybe start to cut them off or, oh, look at the time. I'm late for a very important date. Because we don't want to be fully present. We don't want to be responsible. We like the surface. It's easier to be absent. And Jesus makes some very specific descriptions in the story of the Good Samaritan when he nails out the difference between two religious leaders who just from a distance saw this beat up man and said, I'm not even going to get close. I'm not going to take another step forward. I'm going to go on the other side. I'm going to get as far away from this as possible so I do not have to own it. My responsibilities, my duties are way too important to have to get caught up in this mess. Versus the Samaritan who, Jesus says, came upon him. It wasn't that he wasn't observant. It wasn't that he didn't see this man from a long way off. But he didn't think so much of himself that he was all that way too important that he couldn't take the time to see what was that little speck in the distance. And then, oh my goodness, that looks like a body on the ground. Oh my goodness, I have to do whatever I can to help this person get back on their feet. And that's what he does. And that's how he lives. So Jesus says, you've heard it said all the time. The law of the land right now is to love your neighbor, love the people in your circle, but to hate the people outside of your circle. But he has a different one. He says, but I tell you to love your enemies and to pray for those who persecute you. This word love that is here in the original language is that word agapeo, which we get the word agape love, which is often referred to as the strongest love, an actual divine love, a selfless love. And this is the kind of love that Jesus calls us to have for our enemies. All right, we just pause for a second, and I'm sure if I said, hey, think of the person that you dislike the most. You refuse being a good Christian, young man or woman to say that you have any enemies, but that person that you can't stand, the person you avoid. And Jesus is calling you and he's calling me to agape love that person. Right? There is no stronger word for love in the Greek than this word. There's some lesser loves, there's some perverted loves that there's words for, but there is no stronger word for love. And that's the kind of love that Jesus says, I want you to have, and you can't have it if you continue living this way where it's love the people that you like and hate the people that you don't. Love the people you like who you've created these circles for based on race, religion, ethnicity, looks, gender, and then everyone outside of it you can hate. You don't get to this place by living that way. That wasn't what was intended when God spoke in Leviticus. So I'm telling you to love your enemies. To have a divine love for your enemies. And the only possible way you can get to a place where you're selflessly, divine, lovingly loving your neighbors is by praying for them. By praying those who persecute you. Because when you're praying with a true and honest heart, the prayer isn't about them. If we got a little kind of secret recording of maybe some of our prayers about our enemies, it would be all sorts of like, God, would you just, lightning strike them in the middle of a storm? Would you, cause them to change? Would you help them see the error of their ways? And that's not real prayer. Prayer is coming before God and saying, what's inside of me? What's going on inside of me that needs to change? Because I'm willing to change. I'm willing for you to search me, to know me. For these people who always just seem to want what's worse for me, coming after my job, coming after my faith, it's easy for us to pray that God would change them, that God would just remove them from the equation. But he says the only way that you're ever going to get to this divine love for the people who are near you, as your circle is growing, as your neighborhood is growing, is if you pray for those who persecute you. Not that they would change. Prayer isn't about the external circumstances changing. Prayer is about the internal circumstances changing. So you need to pray for your enemies. And that's where true discipleship begins to happen. And when that happens, when you get to that place, when you're living at that mindset of, God, how do I grow my circle? God, how do I grow my neighborhood? God, how do I own the needs and responsibilities, the things represented with all the people who are near me? This is how he describes you. He says, then you may be children of your Father in heaven. Right, there's a correlation between being called children of God, not based on who we say that we are, but purely just on how we are acting and how we are living. People are going to look at us and think, man, they have got to be related to God, because that is the only way that you could live that way. He says that's what's going to happen, that you will be called children of your Father in heaven, because this is how God acts. This is how God works. He causes the sun to rise on the evil and the good alike. And he sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous alike. Right, he says, if God were to live and to act the way that you do, ain't nobody getting any sun and ain't nobody getting any rain. Because as perfect as we like to maybe think we are, as spiritual as we maybe like to think we are, there's a good chance that we wind up on the naughty lists. And if Jesus was vindictive, if God was one who just withheld all of these things based on your behavior, then none of us would get these things. But he says, both the good and the bad, they get the sun. Both the righteous and the unrighteous, they get the rain. Paul says later on in Romans, he says that there is none righteous, not one, none of us. Some of us like to work ourselves up and think we are. We're kind of dependent on what people think of us and us appearing righteous. But Paul says there's none righteous. At some point, you are going to find yourself in the unrighteous category. We may never know it, we may never see it because we don't know what's going on in your mind, but this whole section of these last 6 phrases have all been about what's going on in the mind, and that's where God sees and where God knows. And if we got sun or rain based on what was going on in our minds, I'm not sure any of us would be left getting some sun and some rain. So if we're called to be like Christ in the same way, there's people in our lives who rub us the wrong way, mean towards us, persecute us, enemies. And he says the only way this lifestyle begins to jump out as counterculture, the only way that this way of living appears to a world that doesn't know God that there's something different, is when you love your enemies and you pray for those who persecute you. Because it's easy for anybody to like the people who like them, right? He says, if you love those who love you, what reward will you get, right? And are not even the tax collectors doing that? Everyone is absent. It's default human nature to create this small circle of just the people who I like, and that's who I'm allowed in, and everyone else out is enemies. Man, even the tax collectors do that. He says, and if you only greet your own people, what are you doing more than others? Do not even pagans do that? And man, I bet you those early listeners of Jesus' words, just like we're hearing them and reading them today, probably start to feel like, man, we might be a little bit more like tax collectors and pagans than actual followers of Christ. Because he says, it's not your sin management that grows your relationship with me. It's your growing of your neighborhood. He says, and he ends this way. He says, so be perfect, therefore as your heavenly Father is perfect. This perfect description that he gives us, not based on a bunch of verses that say do this and don't do this. When you do this, you're bad. When you don't do this, you're good. No, he says when you take your enemies, when you take those who persecute you and you turn them into people that you love and you pray for, when you are focused on growing your circle, removing the boundaries, erasing the lines, owning every single person who you come close to or in proximity to, then that might be as close to perfect as you're ever going to get. Because he says, you're acting like God when you're able to do that. Because of how God has acted towards you and me. And how he does that for us. He ties our ability to grow, to be more like him, to how well we love our enemies and pray for those who persecute us. To being present and not absent. So one of the things I love about our party in the woods, right, is this is just a random picture I took because me and usually this last Thursday it was E, and we kind of stand along the street lines because there's some balls and there's some rings that you toss, and the last thing we want is any one of those things kind of going down our sloped parking lot into the very busy James Street, right? We don't want to lose any human beings. We don't want to cause any accidents. So I'm just standing there and I'm watching, and I just love the picture of all these kids. And especially, I love this in the middle of a dirty, yucky, germ-infested, probably oil-ridden parking lot is this little game of Duck, Duck, Goose. And as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing Augustine, my second oldest, and I'm thinking all those people that she's playing Duck, Duck, Goose with are probably like half her age. And if you know anything about Augustine, if you spend a moment with her, you know she's Miss Hip and cool and, doing all sorts of, these things, She likes to be the coolest person around. But in the moment, as a result of what she sees from mom and dad and her older sister, as a result of the discipleship that's happening upstairs in that room, she says, I'm going to own the experience of these people who are in close proximity. She's got her youngest sister in there, Litly, who more often than not is getting on her nerves, other young girls. And she could be doing all sorts of other things that a young 11-year-old would want to do. And she says, I'm going to own their experience. There's another family represented in this picture, and it's a family that we've become close friends with, more so my wife than me, but this young woman has 2 adopted kids and 1 foster child who's the sister of one of those adopted kids. And Love Handles for that family has kind of become a second home. She's began to tell my wife how one of the girls that she has adopted never speaks, doesn't talk as a result of the trauma that she has experienced. But when she comes to Love Handles, she talks. I mean, I get it. Who doesn't want to talk about frozen yogurt, right? Am I right? But we have on Tuesday nights characters. We have on Thursday nights the party. We have on Friday nights the food truck. And some weeks, that's just the minimum times that she comes to Love Handles. Love Handles has become a place where she's willing to take them anytime that they want to go because of the positive reaction that it has on them. She was telling my wife how she was helping them to build and design kind of this dollhouse thing. And as she was listening to all the things that her daughter wanted to be a part of this dollhouse, she realized that they were just designing a little mini Love Handles. Because that's where she feels safe. And Love Handles has begun to own their experience. They're not a part of Forward Point. But it doesn't have to be that you're a part of Forward Point for us to own and be your neighbor, to be in close proximity. And this is one of our other girls holding on and just loving on to, her name's Queen. Right, and as a result of my girls just loving on their kids, Love Handles for them is, I don't even know if I would say a second home. It may be their primary home where they feel most free to do things. All right, we've been on mission, on purpose for Love Handles to be this owning of our neighborhood's experience, to build bridges. One of the things we've done in the last year is to add characters, where we have characters as a part of our offerings that we do. Again, we've done for years free family movie nights and different events, and we would hire people to come in and to make these events. You see sometimes in the pictures of the video that streams beforehand, we would hire Spider-Man or princesses, and we just wanted to create these experiences that would become unforgettable, meaningful. So on Friday nights, during the day, I get a call from Mo. She works for Make-A-Wish Foundation. And they have a child who's up at Galasanos who they want to have a party for on Sunday. Do we have the characters that they're looking for last minute? They're looking for some Star Wars characters and maybe Spider-Man, and just so happens that we have those characters. So we're putting things into place. We've never used our Star Wars characters, so I'm trying to hurry up and get resources together so the Star Wars characters can talk or sound, like they can interact. So I order a bunch of things, and they should be here Sunday morning. But then I get a call Saturday morning. Hey, are you guys available to come today because it's not looking good? So we need you to come as soon as possible. So we scrounged everybody together, and we had some of our characters hang out at the Children's Hospital with Dean. Dean is a little 5-year-old who I'm not sure what he struggles with. But we said, we're going to own whatever we can do, whatever we have. These are the resources that for whatever reason God placed on our heart to start doing characters. Almost a year ago took that long to get these 2 Stormtrooper and Yoda characters, and now we get to be a part of this young man's story. And I'm going to be honest with you, Ford Point, it hurts and it's hard to open up your circle. To put yourself into a place where you're beginning to feel what the people around you. It's easy to just be absent and shut off the feelings. It's going to hurt. It's going to be sad. It's going to be hard. But Jesus says, be perfect. Act the way God acts. And this morning, just about 20 minutes before we started here, I got this phone call.
Hey, Jimmy, it's Mo Harrington from Make-A-Wish. I wanted to call. I didn't want you to hear it someplace else, but I did want to call and let you know that Dean passed away this morning, surrounded with his family and his loved ones. And the family and the nurses all wanted to let me tell you, they wanted to let you know that, just how much it meant to him that, those characters were there. He talked about it all night long, and they made a difference. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Justice, my oldest, came with us last night when we were there. And there's many different times where I just wanted to come near her. To remind her to never take life for granted. But it's not just, don't take life for granted for ourselves so that we can, in hopes, propel ourselves forward or achieve certain things that we want to be able to do. But don't take life for granted because there's people around us. And right now, there may be some people who are outside of your circle. Right? Some people that you've drawn a circle, and you got the people who it's easy to love on the outside, and on the inside, and then the people who you don't like so much on the outside. And you're fine with the size of your circle and what your circle looks like. But after my experience with Dean and my relationship with Jesus, don't ever take for granted the opportunity that you and I have to be a neighbor, to grow our circle, in fact, to just remove the lines altogether, and to say no matter how hard it is, no matter how gut-wrenching it is, no matter how painful the experience is going to be, I'm going to choose to be the person who owns every opportunity that God places in my proximity. And if some of those are people who are my enemy, and if some of those people are people who persecute me, I'm going to love them, and I'm going to pray. And Ford Point, that's how we become part of this gospel movement. That's how we become part of this upside down, so much so that people look and say, man, they have to be children of God. God, we are so grateful that while we were of no use to you whatsoever, in the midst of some of our most unrighteous acts, in some of our most ungodliest of moments, you still came running after us. Not to take us and bring us into closer proximity to you, but you did it so that you could expand your circle and you could erase the lines, and that it would grow and become this epicenter that goes outwards and not shrinks inwards. So God, we come before you this morning as people who are wanting to not take life for granted, who are not wanting to take any moment for granted. But we want to be a people who are so on purpose, who are so focused with nothing else but being your hands and feet, your bridges into a community that, man, I at times get so tired of serving. After 3 months of characters every week and parties every week and food trucks every week and feeling like, man, there's just nothing to show for it. There's no amazing stories of dramatic crowds coming to Forward Point. But God, that's not why you asked us to live this way. You asked us to live this way because then we will be perfect like you're perfect. You've asked us to live this way because it's doing something more to us on the inside than what we could ever accomplish on the outside. That this is what it looks like to be a disciple and to be more like Jesus. And we no longer want to just be a people of Christian by name, but we want to be a people of children of God by observation. That when they see us, they can't help but say, they're children of God, and I need me some of that. So God, help us this morning as we respond to you, that you would work in our hearts, in our minds, whatever it is that we've held on to so tightly, whoever it is that we think that we are. God, any bit of priest or Levite inside of us that would say we just are too busy, we don't have enough time to even get close. God, would you help us to be Samaritans this morning? Would you help us to be the very people that we despise, our enemies that we hate? God, would you help us? We give it all to you this morning in whatever way we need to, maybe at our seats, maybe a makeshift altar here at the stage, wherever it is that you just need to do a work inside of us as we sing and offer this next 20 minutes to you, just to work in our hearts to help us to be more like you. We love you.
Fortune lies beyond the stars. There's dozen heights too vast to climb. I got so high to fall so far. I found heaven in this love sweet blow. My heart beating, my soul breathing. I found my life when I lay it down. Upward falling, spirit soaring. Touch the sky, and knees hit the ground. What treasure waits within your scars? The gift of freedom, gold cannot buy. I thought the world had sold my heart. You traded heaven to have me again. My heart beating, my soul breathing. I found my life when I lay it down. Upward falling, spirit soaring. I touched the sky when my knees hit the ground.
I surrender. Sweep me up in your love again, and my soul will dance on the wings of forever. Find me here at your feet again. Everything I am, I'm reaching out, I surrender. Come sweep me up in your love again, and my soul will dance on the wings of forever. My heart beating, my soul breathing. I found my life when I lay it down. A bird falling, spirit soaring. I touch the skies when my knees hit the ground. My heart beating, my soul breathing. I found my life when I lay it down. A bird falling, spirit soaring. I touch the skies when my knees hit the ground. Find me here at your feet again. Everything I am, I'm reaching out, I surrender. You sweep me up in your love again, and my soul will dance on the wings of forever. Find me here at your feet again. Everything I am, I'm reaching out, I surrender. You sweep me up in your love again, and my soul will dance on the wings of forever. My heart beating, my soul breathing. I found my life when I lay it down. A bird falling, spirit soaring. I touch the skies when my knees hit the ground. My heart beating, my soul breathing. I found my life when I lay it down. A bird falling, spirit soaring. I touch the skies when my knees hit the ground. A bird falling, spirit soaring. I touch the skies when my knees hit the ground. All these pieces, broken and scattered, mercy gathered, mended in whole. Empty-handed, but not forsaken. I've been set free. I've been set free. Amazing grace. Amazing grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Oh, I can see you now. And I can see the love in your eyes. Laying yourself down, raising up the broken to life. You take our failures, you take our weakness, you set your treasure in jars of clay. So take this home, Lord, I'll be your vessel for the world to see your life in me. Amazing, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saves a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, oh, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now amazing grace. Oh, amazing grace. Oh, sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, oh, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Oh, I can see you now. I can see the love in your eyes. Laying yourself down, raising up the broken tonight. Oh, I can see you now. I can see the love in your eyes. Laying yourself down, raising up the broken to life. Oh, I can see you now. Oh, I can see the love in your eyes. Laying yourself down, raising up the broken to life. I don't know about you, but it's hard to watch. Pictures and videos of when you see people hurting, especially, and again, I think the way our brains work, I think we have our own little scaling system in our brains where we feel like some people, and again, this goes to the whole, love your enemy, which, let's face it, we have a hard time doing that, all right? You may say right now, oh no, I can do that. If Jesus said I can do that. Wait till someone ticks you off. Wait till someone cuts you off in line or belittles you online, or you go through a tough moment. That is the moment. That is the moment when you are frustrated. It could even be with people you actually are supposed to love, like your own family. But wait till somebody really irritates you, and then hear those voices of Jesus in your mind. It says, no, love them. We're not talking about maybe even loving people that are like murderers or rapists overseas. You can't see them. But what happens when you see someone and they have hurt you? You know what you feel inside. Oh, love them. Pray for them. Bless them. But sometimes it's not a person. Just throwing it out there. Sometimes it's not a person that even that you would have typically a hate for. How about if it's something? How about when we have to wrestle, when we have to embrace when someone like that child is going through something, maybe a terminal illness, that's maybe going to literally take their life. And they're down to minutes, down to hours left. How do we pray then? How do we demonstrate love? How do we not get angry at God when we say anyone but them? Anyone. Why can't you give the disease to somebody who doesn't deserve your love? Oh. But as that verse says, the rain and his love falls on the just and the unjust. Church, if you try to justify the understanding, the complete understanding of God's love on this side of heaven, forget about it. We don't know. We don't have all these answers. We don't know. But we have the words of Jesus, that he will be there with us. But he's trying to give you a ticket for freedom inside, and that is, no, it's not just love those that love you, but can you turn the other cheek?
can you lay hands on someone? And maybe when you're exhausted and you're torn, and maybe you just want to have a Friday or Saturday night to yourself, and then you get a call that there may not be time for someone. What then? Do you put on the love of Christ and you get suited up and you do all these things? Because Jesus said, when you do and you love one of the least of these, you demonstrate your love for me, he said. None of us here know how much time we have. We have no control of what happens even 10 minutes from now, an hour from now, tomorrow. All you have control right now is of this very moment. So choose to love. Choose to trust him. Choose to put your faith in something that's much bigger and broader than you. Because a moment is coming, a day is coming, where you're going to be sad, you're going to be confused, you're going to be lost. And what then? So rest and trust in Jesus.
Letting go of every single dream, I lay each one down at your feet. Every moment of my wandering, never changing what you see. I've tried to win this war, I confess. My hands are weary, I need your rest. Mighty warrior, king of the fight. No matter what I face, you're by my side. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers, as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. Truth is you know what tomorrow brings. There's not a day ahead you have not seen. So in all things, be my life and my breath. I want what you want, Lord, and nothing left. When you don't move the mountains, you're needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers, as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers, as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. I will trust in you. You are my strength. You are my strength and comfort. You are my steady hand. You are your firm foundation, the rock on which I stand. Your ways are always higher. Your plans are always good. There's not a place where I'll go you've not already stood. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers, as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers, as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers, as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will seen you. I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more? Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. You see I'm loved when I can't feel a thing, 'cause you say I'm strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short, when I don't belong. You say I am yours, and I believe you. I believe you say of me. I believe the only thing that matters now is everything you think of me. In you I find my worth, in you I find my identity. Oh, 'cause you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing, 'cause you say I am strong when I think I'm weak. You say I'm held when I am falling short, when I don't belong. You say I'm yours, 'cause you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong when I think I'm weak, 'cause you say I'm held when I am falling short, when I don't belong. You say I'm yours, and I believe, oh I believe, oh you say you're me. I believe, taking all I have and now I'm laying it at your feet. You live every failure, God, you'll have every victory. Oh, 'cause you say I'm loved and I can't feel a thing, 'cause you say I'm strong, I think I'm weak. You say I'm held, I am falling short, when I don't belong. You say I'm loved. You say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong, I think I'm weak. You say I'm held when I am falling short, when I don't belong. You say I am yours. Oh, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saves a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Amazing grace, oh, amazing grace. Oh, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. You say I'm held, I'm on the short, and I don't belong. You say I am, you say I'm loved, but I don't feel a thing. You say I'm strong, I don't feel I'm weak. You say I'm held, and I am falling short, when I don't belong. You say I am yours.
Well, Forward Point, if you're looking for some next steps, there's a few ways that you can do that. Here at Forward Point, as you can tell, we're all about connection. Really want to help you find your purpose. We do have a prayer corner that's located in the back. We have a welcome center. We have the Church Center app. We have the digital connection card. So if any of those ways, we just want to make it so easy for you to connect us in whichever way you feel possible, because we really do want you to be part of Forward Point. We want to be part of your story.
And then if this is where you've decided you want to give, we have a couple ways you can do that. We have the joy box in the back, because giving is a joy. You can text any amount to the number 84321. You can give online at forwardpoint.org, or you can give it the Church Center app. Again, the Church Center app is a great way to get connected and to stay connected.
Absolutely. And, Jimmy always texts us as part of the welcome team of things that we need to kind of go over for announcements and things like that. And one little phrase that always catches my mind is like, share a story that kind of helps you support. And the story that Jimmy shared today has actually become one of my favorite stories of the ways that we support Forward Point, whether it's our time, whether it's money and resources. Those are the stories that are worthwhile because they're actually making a connection and a difference. It's one of the reasons why I'm so drawn to Forward Point. And why I love Forward Point so much is because it gives so much. So anything that you give is always going to be put out there. So I just want you to be aware of that and understand that. It's such a wonderful thing. We got to, there's many ways that you can do it. We have the Joy Box. We can text any amount to 84321. We have the Church Center app. You can give online at www.forwardpoint.org/give. But I do highly recommend that because it does get sown in some wonderful ground.
We have our thermometer. We're growing, as y'all know, and so this is where we are. We are at 33%. We're almost at $20,000. Guys, that's a lot of money, and I know we can do a lot more. We're moving into a new space, a new building. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and I'm so excited for the next season because we love the Palace Theater, and this is an awesome venue and it's a great space. But there are some limitations that come with it because we have other shows and other events that take place here that take up the time. When we have our own space, it'll open up so many opportunities. So I'm very looking forward to that next step.
Yes, and then because we're here, we need to clean it up, leave it better than we found it. Many hands make a light work, so each time after the gathering, meet in the lobby right there. There's a closet, brooms and dustpans and all that, and we can get out of here and go eat lunch.
Yes, and as I mentioned earlier, ways to connect is a prayer corner. If you do need prayer today at some point, don't leave. They're going to be there in the back, and they're going to be willing to stand with you and pray with you. And just so you know, if anybody has an issue with their left knee, go get prayer. Prayer works. I'm a firm believer that I've experienced that many years of my life.
And then your children, guys, go upstairs, go talk to Kiwi and some of the other leaders about getting connected up there. Go get your kids and have them tell you about how much fun they had and how much fun you'll have up there.
Absolutely. We love you, 4 Point.
Have a great week.